The reaccumulation phase after the halving is slowly coming to an end. It's going to be a historic end to this reaccumulation phase as we transition away from this phase into the parabolic phase of the cycle. Today we're going to be talking about both of these two unique phases and the transition between them that's right now in progress. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future. Like this video if you enjoy content like this going forward, and let's dive right into it. This entire cycle has been a story of reaccumulation ranges, price moving sideways before trend continuation towards the upside. And this reaccumulation is no different, especially since this is a reaccumulation period that tends to occur across halvings. It begins in the pre-halving period across time, and then most of the post-halving reaccumulation phase develops after the halving, understandably so. This has been the case in this cycle, but also 2020 and also 2016. We've seen most of the reaccumulation phase develop after the halving, with a very small fraction of it developing prior to the halving. So if you just have a look at this, it's a very small fraction of the pre-halving reaccumulation period that takes place prior to the halving. Most of the reaccumulation is after the halving. And even in 2015, 2016, you can see how Bitcoin tends to build ranges, reaccumulation ranges, going into the reaccumulation phase of the post-halving period. And it's during this phase where we can see quite an extensive reaccumulation, up to 161 days. 154 days after the halving in 2016 is when Bitcoin broke out. And in this cycle, we actually saw price retest the range high of this reaccumulation range to confirm that breakout into a parabolic phase of the cycle. So right now, we're actually 161 days after the halving. In fact, we're right bang on in the week of breaking out from this reaccumulation range. And if you focus on where we were at this moment in the cycle, well, we were breaking out in 2020. In 2015, we had already broken out at this point in the cycle. So this really is the current breakout moment for Bitcoin to really start transitioning into the parabolic phase of the cycle. Now, TradingView has a limitation where it's showcasing that it's 161 days after the halving. Currently, it's actually 157 days after the halving. And so we have a handful of days left for this transition between the reaccumulation phase and the parabolic phase of the cycle for us to actually effectively transition into that breakout period. Right now, most recently, we've broken back into the reaccumulation range quite nicely, and that is a process of reclaiming this reaccumulation range after a period of bargain buying downside deviation, which we've seen quite a few times over the past several months. Nothing like in the past, of course, but the past does also show us that these downside deviation moments tend to occur, and those are bargain buying opportunities because inevitably these reaccumulation ranges resolve themselves towards the upside in each of those cases. And this isn't just a case in this cycle, this has also been the case in 2015 and 2016. So this is a tendency that's quite well known in the community, that we tend to see reaccumulation ranges, which then take us into a final reaccumulation range around the halving and after the halving. And then you can see that these reaccumulation periods are very few and far between in the parabolic phase of the cycle. If we move to 2015, you can see also we don't have many moments for reaccumulation like we've seen in the pre-halving and even halving years. We tend to see parabolic upside to new all-time highs and beyond. So it is really breakout time for Bitcoin. We are in those final few days really where we're transitioning away from the reaccumulation phase into the post-halving parabolic upside phase, and having just reclaimed the reaccumulation range low here, we still need to fully confirm that, because technically we could still see some dipping into 60,600 just to retest the reaccumulation range low into new support. But that's exactly what would be needed to see price expand across the range to finally revisit the reaccumulation range high for a potential breakout. And you can see at this same moment in the cycle in 2020, we simply just broke out very easily. In 2015, we also broke out relatively easily, but then pulled back into that reaccumulation range high to confirm further upside to new all-time highs and beyond. So at this moment in the cycle, you can just see what awaits us in the future. in and around the halving, we tend to see a lot of pulling back, moving sideways, whatever the case may be. But overall, that just proceeds upside to new all-time highs and beyond. And that has been the case in each cycle. And that's something that we're gearing up for as well. Now, if we just isolate this post-halving period, for example, so let's just actually focus on 2024 here. This is going to be that isolated period, the post-halving reaccumulation phase. In the post-halving period, we don't really see lots going on. There's not any return on investment that's really fantastic. It is pretty much average, lots of consolidation, lots of pulling back, especially post 2016, a pullback here, and small, slow, creeping up, gradual upside until we finally start to take off. But of course, after this period, this is where things really start to escalate and really accelerate as well. We see phenomenal upside, uninterrupted, and a few corrections in between as well. And that's something that lays ahead in the coming months. Really important to prepare for that. Because if we look at the past and how the past and price action has operated around old all-time high regions, these green circles are reaccumulation periods which precede price expansion to the bull market peak, essentially. And you can see that in every cycle. We see reaccumulation periods precede parabolic upside to new all-time highs, and the same thing happening in 2021 as well. And that's something that lays ahead for us as well in the future. This is, of course, the longest reaccumulation period around the old all-time high region ever recorded, because we've seen short reaccumulation periods before parabolic upside, a little bit longer and more volatile periods of sideways movement and reaccumulation before parabolic upside, or very, very short ones before parabolic upside. And you can see that whenever we break that old all-time high region, we spend 273 days after that breakout beyond old all-time highs, 250 days before we finally peak in the bull market, 329 days in 2021. So if we are really to pay attention to the old all-time high region right now, and we break it to enter the parabolic phase of the cycle, 250 to 329 days after that moment is where we can reasonably expect a bull market peak to occur in the future. And in terms of that old all-time high region, well, it is acting as a phenomenal support, and it's been this case for the past 7 months now. So really, we're going to be heading into that 8th month where we're simply holding here quite well and performing volatile retests of this region, grabbing liquidity at lower levels to even the low 50s, even high 40s, performing a diamond-shaped formation here, which is a diamond-shaped reversal, lower low turning into a higher low. And so that's that diamond-shaped formation confirmed and reversing price towards the upside. And now, 7 months in the making, this support has been holding as a key demand area, lots of buy-side pressure operating in this region, which is a far cry to what we've seen 3 years prior to that, where we'd just reject into a really deep bear market. Whereas here right now, we're holding support quite well for 7 months now. And the best thing about that is that we are also slowly starting to reclaim the pi cycle top indicator moving average. The orange 111-day moving average is now being potentially retested as support. And you can see that during these periods, we tend to oscillate in and around this region, but any sort of oscillation in and around this region below the pi cycle moving average in particular, those are bargain buying opportunities. And this bargain buying opportunity is slowly ending. And you can see that this is definitely some sort of channel here, this sort of structure that's going to enable a final reclaim of the pi cycle moving average to get us back on track into rallying to new all-time highs and beyond. And this is generally data science. This is metrics. These are metrics that we're really familiar with and I cover in the Rect Capital newsletter quite frequently. So if you're really interested in staying abreast of all these sort of insights, whereby the pi cycle moving average reclaiming as support enables parabolic upside to new all-time highs, and holding this pi cycle moving average as support is something that really supports a parabolic uptrend. If you want to know these insights, subscribe to the free newsletter of the Rect Capital newsletter. Click on the link in the description down below. That newsletter is free, full of insights, actionable and pragmatic, guidance for you to make the most of this bull market and the parabolic phase in a cycle that lays ahead. It's all level-headed analysis. It's there to help you. Subscribe for free to their newsletter by clicking in the link in the description down below, and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this in the future. Like this video if you enjoy content like this going forward. I'm Rex Capital, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Speak to you soon.